In today's lesson, I'm going to show you how to make this little luggage or key tag. So let's get started right away. I'm going to go to Onshape, My Onshape. I'm going to put this in my Unit 1 folder. I'm going to go up and I'm going to create a new document. Now, this is activity 1.2.6. So I'm going to type that in. It's called Charmed. So we're going to type in Charmed. And this time I'm actually going to put my name on this project. I'm going to select OK. And the first thing is I'm going to turn off my top and my right plane. Don't need those. Just going to use my front plane. Now, this activity is all done in metric. So I need to change this from inches to metric. The way we do that is right up next to Onshape, you'll see 3 horizontal lines. We'll select that. We'll come down to where it says workspace units. And I'm going to come over here where the down arrow is next to inches. I'm going to slide down and make that millimeters. I'm going to only bring my precision out to 2 for my length and my degrees. And I'm going to hit my green check mark. So I just put this into millimeter mode. Next thing is I'm going to go and make a new sketch on that plane. I'm going to flip that plane right at me. And I'm going to make a rectangle. Now I'm going to dimension that rectangle. And I'm going to make it 24 by 72. Because that's the maximum size that our charm could be, or our luggage tag. Okay. So I can design anything within that box. But I'm actually going to use the whole box. I like using the whole box. We're going to go big. So I'm going to hit my green check mark. I'm going to go back into isometric mode. I'm going to go to extrude, click on my box. And of course, my first extrude, we want to push backwards. Now, the maximum I can extrude this is 5 millimeters. That's what it says. But I'm only going to choose 3. And I'll explain why in a second. So I'm going to make that 3. Okay. And now I'm going to actually turn off my front plane and my origin. I don't need to see those anymore. The reason I did 3 instead of 5, which you can do 5, you can make it thicker, is I'm going to actually put a little lip on mine. Now you can actually just make it straight all the way straight through, but I'm going to put a little lip on mine. So you're going to see me do that. But the other things I have to do with this, I'm going to zoom in a little closer, is I have to put either chamfers or fillets on this, or I can put both. So I'm going to actually show you how to do both. So I'm going to go up here where it says fillet. And right now it's at 5. I need to make that at least 6. And I'm going to select that edge right there. And that edge right there. I'm going to fillet both those edges, kind of round them over. The next thing is I'm going to put a chamfer in, so you can see how I do that. So I'm going to go to chamfer. Well, my chamfers have to be 7 millimeters, so I'm going to type in 7. I'm going to pick on this little edge right here, and you're going to see a little preview. Yeah, looks good. I like that. So I'm going to hit the green check mark. I'm going to right click, hold my mouse button down, rotate this around a little bit, go back to my chamfer, make sure they change that back to 7. I'm going to pick that little edge right there. You'll see a little preview. I like that. Looking good. Okay. So I like that. I'm going to flip this back at me. So now you can kind of see I have 2 fillets on one end and 2 chamfers on the left side. Next thing is I need a hole in this, right? I need a hole. So I'm going to do a new sketch. I'm going to go up to my circle command. Now I'm going to slide my cursor down along this line, and all of a sudden you're going to see a little orange box appear. That means it's the midpoint. So I'm going to not click on it. I'm just going to slide my cursor over. I'm going to see it hit a little dotted line, orange dotted line appear. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put a little circle in. Okay. Well, I have to dimension that circle, so I need to locate it. So left and right here. And that has to be 6 millimeters. Now up and down, I'm going to be right opposite the midpoint, so I don't have to do that. But the other one is I need to give it the correct size. I need to make that hole. It says it has to be 5 millimeters. So I'm going to make that hole 5 millimeters. Once I have it located, I'm going to hit my green check mark. I'm going to go to my isometric mode. I'm going to hit extrude. I'm going to select my circle. I'm going to make sure I pull my circle backwards, and I'm going to make sure that I select remove. I want to cut that out. Okay, looking pretty good so far. All right, on this front, I'm going to do a new sketch again. I'm going to flip it right at me. Now, I want to grab all the geometry that I already have on the outside edge of this. The way I grab geometry is right next to the text tool. You see a little box. I'm going to hit the down arrow. I'm going to select use. Okay, and grab this face. And what this does, you can see that all my lines on the outside edge just turn black. So it's grabbing all those edges and it's putting on they're putting them on this new sketch that I have. What I want to do is also bring those edges inward. So I want to offset them in just a little bit to create my lip. So I'm going to come over right next to the trim tool, and you'll see that little offset command. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to select on this, and you can see that it's going to offset it. Automatically wants to go to 5. So I'm just going to click that once, and I'm going to make that, we're going to make it 2 millimeters. Change that to 2 millimeters. And now you can see that I can offset the outside line inward 2 millimeters. I like that. I'm going to hit my green check mark. We're going to go into isometric mode so you can see what's happening. I'm going to go to extrude. And now I'm going to grab that lip. And you can see it extrudes it out. Well, I told you it could only be 5 millimeters, and I already did 3, so I have to make this one 2. Okay, so I made a 2-inch lip. I'll get my green check mark, and I'll spin this around, show you. There's my little lip. All right, looking pretty good. Next thing you do, I want to put some text on here, and then I'll be almost done with this. So right on this face right here, I'm going to put a new sketch. I'm going to look right at it. I'm going to go to my text tool, and I'm going to create a little text box in there. I'm going to type my name or whatever else you want to put in there. I'm going to make mine bold. There we go. And finish that off. Looking pretty good. Let's go to isometric mode. Let's finish our sketch. All right. So now to make that, I can either make it stick out, okay, or I can make it go in. So I can emboss it out, or I can engrave it inward. But I'm going to emboss mine out. Okay. So how far can I do it? Well, I already did 3 millimeters. So I'm going to do 2 on this one. I'm going to come down here, and there's my text. Okay. So I'm going to make sure I grab all my text. There it goes. I grab all my text. Looking good. Hit my green check mark. Okay. Just boss all my text out. Last thing, just to make this pop a little bit, I'm going to come over on this face. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom where it says add appearance to face. And this little color palette opens up. I'm just going to make that pop a little bit by putting a little bit of red in there. Hit my green check mark. Make it pop a little bit for the picture, and I'm all done. Last thing I have to do is I need to be able to export this out, okay, to a 3D printer so it can see it in the 3D mode. So what I'm going to do is down here in Part Studio on the very bottom, I'm going to right click on that. And now I'm going to pick export. Okay, so now we got to change some things. So first of all, let's give it a file name. So 126-charmed-your name. Okay, now I'm going to give you very specific colors that you can use for. So I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to print this one out of red. So I'm going to make this red. So that way I know I'm going to put them all on the red platform. Okay, the format needs to be an STL format. Okay, so you got to make sure it's STL. We're going to leave it at binary. We're going to make sure our units are in millimeters. We're going to make the resolution fine. I want to make this the print as best I can. And we're going to make sure that the options say download. Okay. Once we do that, we'll select OK. And what it's doing is down in the bottom corner, if you want to look, you'll see that, hey, it's this download, put the file downloaded into my downloads folder. And what we're going to do is you're going to upload that onto the K drive so you can actually grab it and we can 3D print it. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Thank you.